Good evening.
I think we should.
Birshut Arav Harari and Birshut Abe Masri that always open his house for us.
All cell phones.
And Netzach Israel organization and yeshiva and all the holy work that they do. I have the privilege to be the guest speaker here tonight. Most of you I already saw before, but I see some new people here, Baruch Hashem. In case you are interested to watch my other lectures, you have my website, divineinformation.com. It's all free of charge, and there's about 500 lectures approximately there, and in different topics, in Hebrew and in English, some in Russian also. So you can find different topics there. Tonight, since the event is to help the yeshiva, which is the holiest thing that a person can think of, I would like to open up the heart to the people a little bit about the responsibility and the importance of the mitzvah of tzedakah, especially when it comes to Torah. Many Jews, Baruch Hashem, has a merciful heart. 3 of the signs of the Jewish nation, one of them is to have mercy, to see somebody in need and right away run to help. And Gomle Chasadim, which is also kindness. They helping, they run to help, they volunteer. And shy, they embarrass when it's necessary. They have the busha. A person that doesn't have busha, he doesn't have wisdom. Busha, embarrassment, shame, it's the beginning of wisdom. A person that doesn't have a shame, it's a sign that he has problems with his wisdom and intelligence. Why? He may be a doctor or a professor. It's not an indication that he's wise. Why? Many people can remember the books that they read and they just know it by heart. It doesn't mean they are very wise people, because they choose the wrong things every second of their life. So how do we know, according to God, according to the Torah, that the beginning of wisdom is really when you see that a person has a shame, even when he's a teenager? Once he has a shame about something that he does wrong, that's a sign that this person has, Baruch Hashem, his conscious work properly. We learn it from Adam. After Adam made his sin, Hashem came to him. Obviously, he didn't know what to expect now. First sin in creation, right after he was created. And then when he ate from Etz Hadat, the first symptom was that he became ashamed. That was the first thing that happened to him. After Etz Hadat means the tree of knowledge, the tree of understanding. It opens up the brain. The first thing that happened to him, he realized, I'm not modest. He's naked, his wife, all of a sudden they realize. Now remember, who did they have to be embarrassed of? There were no people. The animals. I always use this story that when a person lives in this world for 70, 80, 90 years, if he's lucky, what happened right after? We all finish here and we go in front of Hashem, and our entire life movie is being displayed. Every second, every event of our life, every thought, every beep we ever made, everything will be reviewed and analyzed. Even the good things that we did is going to be analyzed if we did it good enough. Maybe we could have done a lot better. That's what it means, din v'cheshbon. Din is judgment. Everybody understands judgment. We see here in courts judgments. Cheshbon means every reward is being calculated to be 100% precise, which means if 2 people did the exact same mitzvah, not necessarily they have the same reward, because one grew up in Bnei Brak and the other one came from the kibbutz. The one from the kibbutz who made tshuva, every mitzvah he does, he gets a lot more rewards. Also his punishments are a lot easier. Why? This one, his father is a big Rav, all his life he saw Torah. The other one, he comes from out of nowhere, almost like a goy. His value in Shamayim, b'makom sheba'alei tshuva ondim, in a place where ba'alei tshuva standing, even from birth cannot achieve this level. So anyway, as I started to say, after Adam ate from the tree, he opened up his eyes and he realized. Now he was embarrassed from the animals, and I always like to use this story. A person went to make a sin, and he was about to make a sin, and a goy passed by, and he was very embarrassed because the goy is going to remember his face, and tomorrow he's going to hear on the news that he broke into a car or he did something. So because the goy saw him, he's embarrassed to continue with his sin. So he's thinking, I'll come next week, I break into the car. I don't want to do it now, it's fresh. So he's embarrassed from the goy. Then another person comes to make a sin. He see a little kid, 2 or 3 years old, is staring at him. He's trying to push him out of the room. The kid doesn't want to go. He's embarrassed from the kid. So he doesn't want to make the sin. He's embarrassed from a 2-year-old kid. Try to give him candy, throw it out, maybe he will leave the room. The boy is stubborn, staying right there, and he doesn't want to move. Then the next week he comes to make a sin. He see a dog there. An animal, a dog. What's a dog? Big deal. So the dog is staring at him. He cannot make the sin in front of the dog. That's the story. What's the nimshal? What are we learning from this story? After 120 years, we all come in front of Hashem. Is going to show us that incident, that a person went and he was embarrassed to make a sin in front of a dog. And then Hashem will say to the person, tell me, am I worse than a dog in front of you? When the dog watched you and he stared at you, you couldn't make the sin in front of a dog. That means the dog, you pay more respects to the dog than me. Didn't you read in my Torah that it says, Ayin ro'ah ve'ozen shomad v'chol ma'asecha b'sefer nichtavim? Don't you see that I'm reviewing your entire life? I warned you in the Torah that everything has been recorded. And then a person will have a very serious problem. Oh, what am I going to answer this question? So, in tzedakah, which is one of the most important mitzvot in Judaism, is actually a part of the foundation of Judaism. We, the Jews, taught the importance of charity to the entire universe. Without the Jews, the Goyim would not have any idea about charity. They wouldn't understand about good deeds, about rewards and punishments, and being stingy and being generous. Everything whatever they do today, they learn from the Torah. The things that they do, when they donate to all these avodah zarah of them, the idea that they have is, I'm helping God. They don't understand that this is the wrong one. But the idea behind it is they try to help whatever their idol is to become more, famous and more successful, and more followers will follow it. That's their idea. That's why they donate. We, the Jews, the only nation that has the truth, our responsibility is much greater than theirs. We have the truth. We have to do what Hashem told us. Now we know that everything that Hashem told us, from here we can learn a lot about what He thinks about it. Everything. For instance, if Hashem told us about the importance of being Mechalel Shabbat, Chas v'Shalom, we see in the Torah that it mentions so many times in the Torah, and with such a severe punishment, we know right away it's very important to Hashem. There's no games here. It's very important to Him. It's much more important than to make netilat yadayim here and there. Obviously, it's not the same punishment, so obviously it's more important. It's a covenant. It's the foundation of Judaism. Oti beni uvenechem. Same thing, tzedakah. If we see that Hashem told us in the Torah, tzedakah tatzil mimavet, the ability of tzedakah is to save life instantly, which means, chas v'shalom, a person has a verdict signed in Rosh Hashanah, in the judgment days against him, to a specific day, chas v'shalom, to die. And he did tzedakah in that day, the ability of the amount of money that he gave out was able to completely put his verdict on hold, constantly, immediately. The Gemara brings few examples. Yeah, you are welcome to come in, that's okay. Yeah, thank you. Now you cannot run anymore. See, very good. Maybe you move some of the chairs to the ladies' side. Yeah, thank you. No. Very good. Don't worry, it won't be long. The torture will be very short. So, as everything else in life, if we see that Hashem told us that the ability of tzedakah is to change the verdict of a person from negative to positive instantly, this is something, if a person think wisely, it's not just another thing. You can go today to any court you go, and you offer to donate $1 billion to the library, or I don't know where, to the orphan house. No, it won't reap any verdict. The judge will say, I'm very sorry, it's a little bit too late. Now you are convicted in a court of law, and there's nothing I can do, right? But here the Torah, it's like chas v'shalom. In a way, it's like as soon as you do it, Hashem says, wait, don't touch this person. His status automatically changed. That's the ability of tzedakah. The Gemara says when the nation of Israel came out of Egypt, there was one wicked one, his name was Micha. Micha is a baby that one Egyptian took and put him inside the construction. When the Jews were building, supposedly, you were the one who announced to put the cell phone off.
My rabbi. No, I did.
You're the one? Okay.
Rabbi.
There you go. So the point is, so they put the baby inside the building, and Moshe Rabbeinu asked Hashem, where is the justice? What is this baby did that he deserved to die like this just when he was born, So Hashem said to him, oh yeah? Okay, take him out. Let's see what's going to happen. Take him out. And then later he became a wicked person. What did he do? He had an idol. He takes his idol with him, and he convinced Jews in the middle of the exodus of Egypt. I never understood this. It's hard to believe this midrash. How can it be such a thing? After a year of miracles, after he saw all the things that happened in Egypt, he takes an idol and convinced Jews to come bow down to this idol. So the angels, they were going crazy from what's going on here. How is the smoke comes in front of his statue, and they want to go and take revenge against this Micha. And Hashem said, leave him alone for now. Don't touch him. Why? He's bringing guests into his home. He's feeding them. He's a generous person. He's doing chesed, mitzvah, tzedakah. Don't touch him for now. Even though everybody knows that avodah zarah is not just another sin. So you lose your Judaism. You lose your identity. It's basically, if you read in Shulchan Aruch, what's the, I don't want to say punishments, what's the status of Oved Avodah Zarah? Cannot be a witness, cannot touch the wine. There's a lot of problems with him. No matter what, since he's feeding the guest, nobody can touch him. Also, when it comes to tzedakah, there are levels of tzedakah. Levels. Usually, you're going to find that generous people, there are people who are generous. Some people are not. Everybody has his tikkun. The people who are normally very generous and they give millions of dollars to tzedakah. Millions of dollars to tzedakah. These people, 99% of the time, if you review exactly where they give their money to, you'll be amazed. Almost all the money goes to a waste. Almost all the money goes to a waste. When finally there's a kosher institution that wants to make a building to save children, to teach them, to give them the foundation, to give them future, like this great organization is doing, it will be very difficult to find them to open up their wallet and write the checks. But if you come and say, I want to do this party, and I want to do this, and I want to buy this, and I want to do that, usually in that case, right away, they'll give the money. I see it myself all the time. When I tell people, when we give out DVDs, it makes a lot of Jews Shomer Shabbos. We're saving souls. Most people don't want to give a penny for it. The same people, and a minute later, they'll write a $10,000 check to a Hanukkah party for donuts. What's the comparison? $10,000 for Hanukkah party or 10,000 DVDs to save hundreds of souls, So, I guess it wasn't clear, the message. So right away here is an opportunity of a person that finally gave. How did he invest the money? Now it's very interesting, because usually the wealthy people, they're very clever in business. In business, they are very sharp when they know where to invest their money. So if they need to buy this stock or that stock, usually they'll know which stock to buy to get a lot of profit on their money. But when it comes to spirituality, it's not natural. The Satan confused them. When they finally wants to give to a kosher place, there's a lot of interference. Not everybody has the zchut for it. So this is an opportunity. Today, unfortunately, all the organizations, they have to do Chinese auction and to do all kinds of ways to attract people to give them money. But reality-wise, Jews that knew the Torah and the importance of tzedakah, they should have run after the rabbis. Not telling them, I'm making an event, we're giving out gifts, if you help us, we'll give you this and this and that. The opposite. We shouldn't accept anything. So I don't want anything in return. Just tell me what you need. I know one billionaire that he told the Rosh Yeshiva in Muncie, call me only when it's urgent. Call me only when you've tried everything you can and you couldn't get the money out somewhere else, then you call me and then I'll help. So I told somebody to go and tell him in my name, the world is crooked, doesn't make sense. Instead of you running after him and say, can I give you more? Allow me to give you more. You telling him, call me only when... You should have run after it. It's the best investment. Torah, it cannot go wrong. It cannot go wrong. Every one of these kids that eventually become a learner, you continue to benefit from them for 70, 80 years, and then from their children, and then from their grandchildren, and it can be hundreds of generations. Hundreds of generations. I'll give you an example. You know, the Midrash brings a story about Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon. No, what story about? He wanted to know in Olam Haba, where is he going to be? And what level? Important people, they have the right to ask questions about Olam Haba. What are we going to say, Hashem? Show me where I am. The more ignorant the people are, the more certain they are that they have first row in VIP in Olam Haba. You should see, the more people do not know anything about Torah and about Hashem and about everything in the Torah, they are 100% confident. I have a special place on the stage, right between Moshe Rabbeinu and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. The more people learn Torah, they realize, Hashem, now when I know what needs to be done, I'm so embarrassed from you. There's so much more to do. So he wanted to know where he's going to be. So, guess what happened? They showed him from Shamayim that he's going to be together with a caterer. Caterer. So he got very upset. Me, one of the biggest Tanaim, I'm going to end up with this caterer that cooked chulent like this and served the plate. What's going on here? Doesn't make sense, you know. So then he wanted to investigate why this caterer is in the same level in Shamayim like him. Doesn't make sense. So he went, he knocked on his door, he said, I'm passing by, can I stay in your house for a few days? The caterer was a Jew, a generous guy, so of course, Rabbi, sure, here is the room, no problem. He started to follow him. He sees somebody, he knocks on the door, he gives a little tzedakah. No, that's for sure doesn't get him to where I am, he's thinking. Then another person, he gives a little tzedakah here, a little there, he goes to daven, he does, some good mitzvot, but Rabbi Shimon is looking. I have to find the real reason why he's such an important person. After a week, he doesn't see anything. See an ordinary kosher Jew, that's it. So he said, listen, I have to leave, but before I leave, I want to ask you a question. You are a very important person in Shamayim. You had to do such an important mitzvah. Can you tell me which mitzvah you did? So I'm thinking the caterer, say, well, the only mitzvah I can really think that I ever did is this. I used to work for the duty. In the port, when the boats come, they bring their merchandise. I was an assessor. I review the merchandise, and I decide how much tax they'll pay for the king. I evaluate everything. That's my job. I was working there. One time a guy with the boat, is the captain of the boat, he comes there, and he say, hey, Jew, come, I need to talk to you. I say, yes. He say, I have an important merchandise to sell you with a bargain price. So he says, okay, show me the merchandise. I say, no, you cannot see it. You have to trust me. You see me here every week, I come, you know me. Don't worry, I'm not going to sell you, a question mark here. I'm selling you something very solid. So how much you want? He said 10 coins of gold. Let's say like today, $10,000. $10,000 you want and you don't want to show me the merchandise? Come on. So the guy said, you know what? On a second thought, I don't want 10, I want 20,000. No, 30. He doesn't even have time to think. Right away it became 40,000. 4 times more than what he started with. So the Jew thinking, this guy wouldn't have such chutzpah to come. With the 10 I hesitate. Right away he raised it to 40. It had to be something good. He said, okay, I'm buying. He had money. I'm buying. He said, okay, come, I'll show you the merchandise. They take him to the boat. The boat has a cover. The floor of the boat is all cover. He picked up the cover. He see 200 Jewish boys and girls with handcuffs. Prisoner, they all handcuffs underneath. They cover, they're all shaking like this from the cold weather. They say they're all yours. If you wouldn't make the deal with me, in few hours I'll dump them in the middle of the ocean. Like this, to die. You can have them now. So now, finally save them. One thing to save them, now what are you going to do with them? 200 kids? People don't want to have more than 5 kids today. Rabbi, it's too much. Tuition, this, that. 200 right away have to raise now. Besides his own children. In Hebrew we say, המתחיל במצווה אומרים לו גמור. You're already in this mitzvah, משמיים גלגלו. Right, you gotta continue. So he takes them to his house. He brings 200 children to his house. He raised them. When they get older, he makes shidduchim between them. Matchmaker now. And he makes shidduchim. And this couple got married. This got slowly, and he supports them financially. Then there was one of the girls, a beautiful girl. Very nice, with good midot. He liked her very much to be his daughter-in-law. And he has a nice son, Talmid Chacham. And he saw this girl is perfect for my son. So he says to his son, come, I want you to date her and get engaged. We'll make you a wedding. So, she's very shy. She's embarrassed to talk because she is grateful to this caterer. She's embarrassed to talk, so she doesn't say a word. They make a l'chaim, everything is fine. All of a sudden, you see a guy there that used to be very happy until that day is very depressed now. Very depressed. So he comes and says, what happened to you? He says, I know, I'm embarrassed to talk. He says, well, he says, I got engaged with her before your son. She's my love, and I'm her love, and we had dreams that when we can afford, we'll be able to get married. So he said, why didn't you tell me before? Now it's too late, we make a party, and this and that. So the guy said, I'm not saying anything now. I'm giving up. You expect me to be happy? I'm not saying a thing. You're the boss here. You raised us. You saved our life. I cannot make a beep. But he has the heart of a Jew. He doesn't feel comfortable. He said, listen, I make it up to you. I give you $10,000, 10 coins of gold. You'll be rich. Don't have to worry. Your future is set. No, it says the money won't convince my heart. It's a matter of heart. I cannot control it. 20, 30, 40, 100,000 he offered him. More than the entire deal. The guy said, Rabbi, it's not about money. It's just, have your son enjoy, no problem. So he comes to his son and says, listen, we made a mistake. She didn't say anything, I don't know. But he was first. They got engaged. So you have to give her a get misafek. You never know, just get rid of her, There's nothing you can do. So the son said, okay, if that's the case. So he said, okay, so my son left her alone, and I married her anyway with the guy, and I still gave him the money. Not the full amount, but I gave him the money, and I put him in home together, and I helped him out. And I married all of them. So he kissed his hand. He said, I was worried that I'm with you in Olam Haba. Now I see that I have the zchut to be with you in Olam Haba. That's the story. What do we learn from this? He saved 200 guys and girls. That's it. 200. He's already with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in the same level. We help yeshiva, right? Let's say a person gives the yeshiva check every month from his maaser, every month, 1 year, 2 years. It adds up to a lot of money. With this money, the yeshiva designed the future of many more kids than 200. Can be thousands, right? The Rav just told me we're talking hundreds of Talmidim, and not only here in Israel, here, there, so many activities for so many years, and Baruch Hashem, the future will bring even a lot more. So you have a little bit of each one, a share here, a share there, it's like a stock. Continue to produce. And then they have one day children, and grandchildren, and grandchildren. And it's only money, and believe me from experience, that most of the people who don't give their money to the Torah in the end the money goes to nonsense. It goes to nonsense. One day, chas v'shalom, they pass away, the government here takes half, right away, tax, Then their children makes all kinds of sins with this money. Believe me, when they go there, they're not so happy. When they see all these millions that I made, in the end, look what happened to it. I once asked a question, maybe you heard that from me or not. What's better? To be miserable poor or miserable rich?
Poor.
Right away everybody thinks, oh, at least if I'm miserable, I'll be rich. I don't have to worry about the bills. The answer is no, my friend. Miserable rich is already finished mentally. Why? I have everything I could have thinking of. I have cars, I have houses, I have this, I have that, and I'm never going to be happy. Nothing makes me happy. I'm depressed all the time. The poor one has a dream. One day I'll make it. One day I'll make it. I'll close my first deal. I'll buy myself a nice car, a nice watch, nice house, whatever it is. I'll be finally happy. So he has hopes. The person that has hopes, even false hopes, just the fact that he has hopes, give him a reason to want to live. Once there's no future, nobody wants to live anymore. That's why a lot of these movie stars and musicians, they are the number one in committing suicide. Highest suicide cases. Why? Because they thought always, when I'll become, famous with glory and fame, I'll be on top of the world. And then they realize it's all empty life. And when they see it, they go into drugs first. Almost all of them in heavy drugs. Almost all of them. It's hard to believe. You may think, why a person like this have such miserable life? Alcohol, drugs, going here, going there, so much. And in the end, we the Jews have to learn from one goy. Two goys, I should say. There are two goys in this world that will make each one of us a lot of problems. One of them is Bill Gates, one of them is Warren Buffett. Because of them, we're going to pay big time in our trial. Why? Bill Gates says in an interview in Israel, before I'll die, I'll make sure I'll give all my money to charity. I already gave 17 billion. He has 50 billion at that time, about a year and a half ago, when he was interviewed in Israel on prime television. And he say, I'm only planning to leave my children, which means more than one. I think he has two children, a boy and a girl. $10 million. That's it. Couldn't buy a house in Brooklyn even. $10 million is going to leave his children. That's it. I don't know if he meant 10 to each or 10 to both of them. It's not relevant. 50 billion is going to give to where? To Africa for medicine, education, this, that. He doesn't understand Torah. In his idea, he's trying to do a good thing. Same thing the other one, Buffett. You understand? And now all of a sudden, they ask them in interviews, what's your success? What's your secret? They're all starting to answer the same answer. Because we give all our money to charity, so we are blessed. The Goyim say it. Hashem put words in their mouth to wake up all the wealthy Jews. Not that there's no wealthy Jews that likes to give out. Of course, there are Baruch Hashem generous ones. I tell you something. I saw an interesting story. There is I have a coffee cup. And I take this coffee cup with me. I'm a little bit embarrassed, but I was planning to bring it in and show you the coffee cup. It's this cup that keeps the coffee warm for a few hours in a car. What's so special about a coffee cup? How much a coffee cup costs? $5? Why I like this cup? This cup was given to one of the richest Jews in the world when he gave a check to Yeshiva University for $100 million in one shot. It's the biggest donation in the history of all activity, all charity. Nobody remembers a one-shot donation in one shot for $100 million. And he gave them $100 million. And they gave him a coffee cup. And Hashem gave me the coffee cup. It came to my hand, this coffee cup. That's why I always look at this cup. I say, wow, this cup is a result of $100 million that went to yeshiva. Yeshiva, it's not exactly yeshiva like we have here, but still, they learn Torah there, they learn Gemara. Some good things happen. There's only one problem. Madoff took all the money. Wow. They lost $104 million by Madoff. That's what they reported. Maybe they lost more. Don't say, oh, everything has a reason. I always repeat this and people have to realize it. If you are able to give money to yeshiva, to tinokot shel bet rabban, that learns Torah with no sins, because even if they make sins, it doesn't count, because they're not bar mitzvah yet. If you're able to give money to an institution like this, when we all gathered here tonight for this, then you know Hashem loves you for sure. Why? Because He got you the best stocks in universe. Then you know. It's like, imagine Bill Gates has, 500 companies, and one of them is really profitable, the stock. You don't know. And he comes and say, buy this stock only. Buy this. There's a lot of good ones. This one is the best. Buy it. And you know, Bill Gates like you. Why he tells you this? It's like almost an inside information. Same thing here. If you know, after all the resistance of the Satan and the Yetzer Hara, that your money is able to go to Torah of Tinokot Shel Bet Rabban, kids that learn without a sin, or to save souls, to take Jews out of their darkness, spiritual darkness, and make them through, make them religious, that now they be able to be closer to Hashem, then you know you are in a very special VIP league in Shamayim. Why? Because most people don't have the zchut. They'll give money to a lot of causes. But when it comes to these two important things, you see, it's not going for them. Why? Because it's a big gift. You have to understand, if a person marries a Chinese woman and he has goyim kids, Hashem is not so interested that he's going to be the one who sponsors all the Torah of the yeshiva. They came to Rav Yaakov Kaminetsky, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. One Jew, Yeshiva Bet David, moved to a bigger place in Monsey. It's one of the main yeshivot until today in Monsey. Yeshiva Bet David. So everybody knows it in Monsey. Big yeshiva, big property. One, they didn't have money. They didn't have money to finish the building. They started, they got stuck. So one guy offered them to give the entire amount. We're talking millions of dollars here to finish the building in a week. I give everything. In one condition, I want my name to be on the building. That's all. That was his condition. So they came to Rav Yaakov Kaninetsky and they told him, Rabbi, what should I do? He said, it's a big Chilul Hashem. Big Chilul Hashem that a name like this will be, and everybody in town knows who this person is. Just a person that go and betrayed Hashem, now is going to clean his conscience by giving money to tzedakah. It's not so simple. You have to consider if you want such a Chilul Hashem. So they say, okay, Rabbi, let's assume we convince him to take the name off. Nobody would know. He say, you're never going to have blessing with his money. If you trust Hashem, Hashem will send you kosher money. And they told that guy no, and 2-3 weeks later they gathered from different sources, and today's holy yeshiva produced many rabbis. Big test. Big test. I tell you something. To be a Rosh Yeshiva today, it's to be a fundraiser, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Why? People are hiding. They don't want to come to help. They're hiding. Only you have to beg them, come, wait for them by the door, by the office. It's an embarrassment. One guy came to Rav Chaim Kanievsky, said, Rabbi, give me a blessing. I'm going to America for the first time to raise funds. First time. I don't know anything. No English, no connection. I don't have an address. I'm throwing my trust on Hashem. Ashlecha al Hashem. Ya'avcha v'hu yichalkelecha. Hashem is going to support me, I hope. Give me a bracha. I'm going for the yeshiva. I'm in a deficit of $50,000. If I don't get it in a week or two, I got to close the yeshiva. I cannot pay the bills. The rabbi gave him a warm blessing, and he comes to America for 3 weeks. One embarrassment after the other. After 3 weeks, he hardly covered the ticket. That's how bad it was. He's sitting back on a plane back to Israel, depressed. He said, wow, I gave my heart for this. How am I going to come back and tell the people? How am I going to tell the people that I cannot pay them the salaries, I cannot pay the bills, I cannot do anything? So guess what? He comes to Israel, he said, listen, I have 10 more days. 10 more days to be here. Let's see. Maybe Hashem is going to do a miracle. A day or two after, somebody comes to this Rab with an envelope. He opened the envelope, he see a check for $50,000. Exactly the money that he was short to keep the yeshiva going. He looks at the address of the check. He sees that it's a guy from Bnei Brak. Where does the guy live? 2-3 blocks away from his yeshiva. Bnei Brak, it's close, it's nearby. So he's thinking to himself, what's going on here? I went in America, running from one place to the other, meeting people, waiting on lines, doing this, doing that, nothing. In the end, my salvation came from across the street. Right away, he ran to Rav Chaim Kanievsky. He said, Rabbi, what's going on here? What? I left my family, I left everything, and in the end, I had the money right here. So the rabbi told him something that is very important for us to understand, for it applies to each one of us, to everything we do in our life. The rabbi told him, you don't understand. The only reason you got this check is because you went to America and you show Hashem how much you care for the children in your yeshiva. After Hashem was convinced that you passed the test, you're willing to leave your family, your children, to run, to knock on doors. You're changing your entire life. After he saw who you are for real, he doesn't need the money to come from there. The money is here. Somebody came to me, asked me where to give. He made a good deal. I asked him, how much is your master on the deal? He said, $50,000. I have the right address. Go to here, give the check. So the money came from this neighborhood. But he only came because he went to America. Same thing here. If we show Hashem that we care, we put our efforts, sometimes somebody else will do the job, but it's our zchut. Sometimes you start. I want to tell you, you know, Rav Kook, there was one Ashkenazi rabbi, he has a lot of Hasidim in Israel, Mossad Rav Kook it's called. They follow him. His wife was Isha Tzadeket. She saw a Moroccan Jew walks in the field, an immigrant that came from Morocco. Listen to this story, hard to believe. She saw that this Moroccan man is religious. He eats, he makes bracha, he drinks, he makes bracha. The other workers, not all of them were religious. So she invited him for lunch. She saw he's working very hard. She gave him cold water. She said, do you want to eat something? I'll make you something to eat. So as he's sitting, she sees he's very upset, very depressed. So she told him, why are you upset? Tell me, has any problem? Maybe I can help you. He was an immigrant. Doesn't know anything. He said, yeah, they took my son and they put him in a kibbutz. And I have no rest in my mind what they do to him now, what they feeding him. If he learn, there's no Torah there. I heard very bad things about the kibbutz. I've never been there, but I heard so many bad things. I'm afraid to even see what they're doing to my son. You know, we're all religious. So she asked him, what's the name of the kibbutz? So he told her where the kibbutz is. So he ran. So she said, I'm going to run there. If I'll speak to your son, he's going to agree to come with me to yeshiva here. I'm going to put him in yeshiva. He said, of course. He likes to learn Torah, you know. So she went to the kibbutz. She spoke to the kid, and she told him, I want to take you to my husband's yeshiva. You want to come? So the kid said, yes, get me out of here. I don't like it here. She got him out of there, and this kid became the biggest machzir b'tshuva in the world. The one who started everything. Before Rabbi Amnon Yitzchak was around. Way before. Who is he? Rav Reuven Elbaz. 200 institutions he has in Israel. Most of them of Kiruv. Big yeshiva, 8 floors in Yerushalayim. 8 floors. 4 under the ground, 4 above the ground. All Baalei Tshuva. Some of them jet pilots. Jet from the army. All these big pilots. One after the other. He made them religious. He started everything. He has hundreds of students that are making other religions. All of it goes to her account. What a lucky woman. She went to took the bus. How many hours? 3, 4 hours, 5 hours? A whole day. She cared for a boy. Hashem paid her big time. You understand? We do not know. We can save a boy today here. You never know. 20, 30 years from now, it can be Gdol Ador. Gdol Ador. Gdol Ador it can be. You never know. If you do it, you know, how does Hashem decide what money goes to what kid? If 100 people donate to the yeshiva, and only 10 kids of the yeshiva became big rabbanim, what about the other 90? They stay religious, but nothing special. How does Hashem decide what dollar goes to which kid? Because some kids are more productive. Again, it's like a stock. How? Depends how you give it. If you give it after the rabbi beg you and you put his pride down to the ground, you lost most of your mitzvah. If you wait until he comes to you, you lost a lot. Not all, a lot. If you run after and you give, I have a guy that's donate money to the CDs. I went to pick up a check from him yesterday. He showed me his balance in his account. I said, so why are you donating? He said, can I say to the children of Hashem, don't come to become religious? I'm going to find where the money to come. Well, just hold the check for 3 days and let me see where I'm getting the money to cover for it. And I have people, believe me, that I had them zchut to make them religious, and they loaded with money. They don't know where their money is. They don't give $1. And it shows you that even when a person does it from his stress, from his pressure, it counts a lot more. I will finish by telling you this. The Torah says, Yafa sha'a achat b'tzar mimea shelo b'tzar. It can be one Jew that gives $100 a month and a Jew that gives $100 million a month. If you ask everyone who counts more tzaddik, everybody will say the 100 million. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Because the one who gives 100 could be a student and he only gets $500 a month and he gives 100 from it, which is 20%. 20% of his income he gives out. The other one makes $1 billion a year. He didn't even reach his master. His obligation he didn't reach. His obligation. And I always tell the wealthy people, do you think Hashem gave you $100 million to buy another house and another car and another fur coat and another watch and another this and another that? That's what you think Hashem gave you the money? Just take what you need to live comfortable life and start to invest all the rest of the money to prepare yourself for the next life. Because over there it's eternity. Over here the fur coat is 10, 20 years, it goes to the garbage. The watch is going out of style 2 months later. The car, it dies after a year or two. Everything is temporary here. The stocks in Talmud Torah stays for eternity. Even Chas v'Shalom, if one day the Talmud Torah close, the production is already in your pocket. The kids that graduate, they continue to learn in other places. You continue to earn from everything they do. Couldn't be a better investment. Be'ezrat Hashem, I hope that the people, not only the people who came here tonight, the people who will watch it later in a website, in the internet, and on the CDs, they will remember that we did this lecture for the success, for the future building of the yeshiva and the mosdot of Netzach Israel institution of Rabbi Harari, Hashem Yishmereu V'Yechayeu, that runs around and try to make these kids with a better Jewish future, Bezrat Hashem, should all gather together to help. Thank you very much again to Mishpachat Masri. I always here to come here. I enjoy. I know come here. I know you open your heart and I enjoy to come here. Thank you very much for coming. Good night.